All right, we live. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. You got to do that. Am I looking at you now or now? Now or now? Now or now? Hit the subscribe button and then click it again. And there's a little, or is it a notification? Yeah, once you click the subscribe, then there's a little bell. You hit that, you say notify. All alerts or whatever it is. And you do that because I go live every weekday. Every weekday I bring you this show. And I'll bring you weird stuff from around the world. A lot of the times it's from America. America, land of the free, depending on what state you are in or how brave you are. Land of the free, depending on how brave your ass is. And today we're going to talk about something fascinating from up in Minnesota. Minnesota. I love Minnesota. It's the land of the lakes, Land O'Lakes. Land of 1 billion lakes, I believe they call it. The Lakey City. And in Minnesota, you could get 30 years for Bongwater. Bongwater. You don't even need to get caught with the actual substance, the medicine, the recreational substance here in Massachusetts. But if you just get caught with the water, you can go to prison for 30 years. So we're going to talk about that. If you just join in, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and hit that thumbs up for the channel. I don't get many thumbs ups. I get like 2 or 3. And I suspect one of them's my brother. Thank you. And I suspect I get a rogue thumbs up once in a while. And that's okay. I don't know what it takes for people to hit the thumbs up. That's a fascinating study I'd like to do. But at some point, the metrics here on our spy devices, our phones, will start to track us and figure out how we give the thumbs up or not. Whenever I'm watching a channel that I like, I usually hit that thumbs up before I even start it, just to give them some love. But if you're just joining, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I go live every weekday. We're going to talk about going to prison for Bongwater here in America. I don't know what state you're watching in, or maybe even what country you're watching from. I know I got some friends in Egypt, South Africa, New Zealand. Forgive me if I'm forgetting right now. Canada, and Brazil. But we got heads from all over the world, and I'm curious to know how the drug war affects you. Here in America, it all depends on what side of the imaginary you're lying on. You're a line on? What side of the imaginary line you're on. Here in our beautiful Northeast imaginary lines, as long as you don't go to the state called New Hampshire. Their motto is live free or die, by the way, but if you bring an ounce of weed up there, you won't be living free for long. But if you go to Vermont, Maine, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, or Canada, or just a consenting adult partaking in some kind of recreational cannabis or medical cannabis, but recreation in all bordering states. And if you go to New Hampshire, again, their motto is live free or die. You can go to jail for cannabis. But every bordering state, you're just an adult using cannabis. That's it. It's recreation, every bordering state of New Hampshire. I always find it ironic their motto is live free or die. Only pertains to certain things where you can live free. Or the cops might just kill you. Maybe that's what it is. You live free, but if you cross them, the cops will kill you in New Hampshire. That's probably what it means, live free or die. So anyways, this lady, Jessica Biesk, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, my apologies. Oh, and again, once you hit the subscribe and the notification bell, because I go live every weekday, I also post the links to these news stories in the description, so you can read it for yourself if you don't believe me. Not fabricating stories here, but this is an important one to read, because whatever you think about Joe Biden or any of these governments, left, right, doesn't matter. It's all the same bird. It's just a different wing on the same bird. We have one party here in America, and they're all anti-people, because Joe Biden promised to federally decriminalize cannabis, and that has not happened. And you have people who are in Minnesota. Shout out to all my Minnesota people, especially Atmosphere, Slug, Anthony. Some great music groups come out of Minnesota. Prince, Atmosphere, that's all I can think of right now. 2 great groups. Probably should have thought of some more. Um, so I've never been there, but I got much respect for the people of Minnesota. But not the cops or the lawmakers. F them. Because if you're going to put this Jessica girl in prison for 30 years, charge her with a felony for Bongwater, you're out your damn mind. I tell you what, Jessica, she got caught speeding, got pulled over. They found a glass jar with a crystal substance in it, which I'm guessing was kefir. Is that what the kids call it still? The crystals off the cannabis that falls off, collects in the jar, and then you scrape it, and you can smoke it. Kefir. So I'm guessing it was that. But they didn't charge her with that. What they charged her with is they found a bong in her car. And Jessica, yeah, tisk tisk, shame on you. Don't be carrying a bong in your car, especially if it's illegal in your state, which is stupid. That law is stupid. But what they charged her with was 8 ounces of Bongwater, which carried, I forget, $1 million fine or a huge fine, and a felony charge of facing 30 years in prison. 30 years in prison for Bongwater. That's what we're talking about right now. And the craziest part is if she had just drove across a couple imaginary lines and came to New England, as long as she wasn't in the New Hampshire live free or die state, she probably would have went to jail too. But if she came to Massachusetts, she'd just be an adult. That's it. An adult. It's fucking crazy, man. Sorry for cursing. I just do not get how you can cross an imaginary line in this country, and on one end of that line, you are in one standing on one side of the line on the land, you're a medical patient with a prescription from a doctor, and on the other side of the imaginary line, you're a criminal and you go to jail. Everybody should be uproarious about that, irregardless of what your take on cannabis is. And if you don't think cannabis is a medicine, go Google the U.S. government's patent on cannabis. They have a patent on it for its medicinal use. It also exposes the corruption in the drug war and how it was all fabricated and made up and a lot of propaganda, because the drug war scheduled cannabis as a Schedule I drug, meaning it's a high addictive rate and zero medical use. But in 2001, the government went and took a patent on its medicinal use. That's why doctors prescribe it. You can look up RSO, Rick Simpson oil. He cured his own cancer with cannabis. So there are many, many stories if you dig into the history of it. And if you dig into the history of the drug war, you'll find out it was just to lock up black, brown people, minority communities, the hippies, the yippies. That's all that drug war was. It was just an excuse. And in this story, which again I link in the description, you should read it for yourself. It was the old trick, the oldest trick in the book the cops used to use. Growing up, they used this on us every time. And I'm talking about, I would be driving, have no cannabis on me, nothing. And they would go, "We smell marijuana." It's like, bro, maybe you fucking hit a skunk coming after us, because you don't smell nothing. But as soon as they say that, just like the stop and frisk in New York, as soon as the cops pull up and they say, "We smell marijuana," which don't call it that. That's a derogatory term. Call it cannabis. "We smell cannabis." They never said that. They would say, "We smell marijuana." And then they pull you out the car and they search your whole car based on a lie. All they had to do was say they smell marijuana. And the funny thing is this tactic from the 90s when I was growing up that has been proven to be bullshit. It's just the thing for them to strip you of your rights and pull you out the car and search your stuff. It's still going on in Minnesota, the land of the lakes, Lakey land, the city of lakes, whatever you call it out there. The city of 1 million lakes. Do they really have 1 million lakes, or 1,000 or 100? How many lakes do they have? I don't know. But in this article, Jessica described that the cops said, "Oh, it smells like cannabis." I mean, they were right. She had bongs in her car. Dodo. She should have locked the car and got on the phone with her lawyer and said, "I'm going to need you down here. I'm getting pulled over." But this girl got pulled out the car and they charged her with 8 ounces of Bongwater. And this girl's facing 30 years in prison. Meanwhile, we got people like Joe Biden saying, "Oh, we've vacated all the charges for people with cannabis." That's federally, folks. That's federally. There are not many people federally. To get a federal cannabis charge, you have to be trafficking through multiple states, okay? Got a couple of friends with those. Most cannabis charges are state charges. which means the federal government can't step in and, vacate your charges. They can't get you out of prison. That's why it's so important that the federal government decriminalizes it. And then they push for states to just fully legalize. It just needs to be legalized. And that's the other reason why Joe Biden is just a rubbish human. Because that's what he ran on. Dude ran on getting rid of student debt and decriminalizing cannabis. And he's done neither. He's a bullshit artist. Same with Trump. Same with any other RFK. They're all just bought and paid for. These people are no good. I say we have restrictions on presidents. If you can't run till you're 35, then I say by the time you're 55, you're not allowed to run either. And I say if you make over $200,000 a year, you're not allowed to run. You can't be some wealthy, out of touch dude who has people shop for him. You can't even, if you can't tell me what the price of orange juice is, or, what it's like to shop at Target at 5 p.m. on Thursday, you don't get to run for president. We need some common folk running stuff. And that's why Joe Biden, Trump, none of them care. They do not give a shit. They do this to enrich themselves. And we're just pawns for the taking. And I feel bad solidarity with this girl, Jessica B., out in Minnesota, the land of 1 billion D lakes. I bet the lakes are beautiful out there. I don't know much about Minnesota. I know it gets cold because slug from atmosphere calls it Minnesota. Snow. Clever. But this lady, Jessica, is facing 30 years for Bongwater. And I don't know, they go into the specifics of the laws that they were allowed to charge. Like, they rewrote the laws where they were allowed to charge people with basically the same as methamphetamine possession for having bong water, which makes it, I forget, like a first-degree felony, which are serious charges. Her life could be ruined. Never mind if she goes to jail prison for 30 years, but her life could be ruined in many other ways. Trying to get housing, trying to get a job, trying to, this just, I don't know. Is anybody, leave it in the chat, in the comments, if you think this is, appropriate. This just seems like the law is wildly out of control. Absurdly out of control. This is a sick abuse of power, especially when there are bordering states here in America that have fully legalized it. There ain't no issues. You got a bong in your car, a cop pulls you over, they might be like, dump it. What are you doing, moron? Don't be driving with that. You can't drive with that. She has some responsibility here. Shouldn't be driving with that. Shouldn't be speeding. But does the punishment fit the crime? Potentially 30 years in prison. Yo, that's absolutely insane. So this is important. I don't know if Philip DeFranco will be mentioned in this one, but this is an important story. This could be your family. I don't know if you got family in Minnesota, but at some point this could affect you. And this is an important story, and the only way we change this is if we, the people, come together and say, we've had it. We're done with it. We're voting you out. But there's no good options to vote people in, unless we're going to vote in Cheech or Chong, Jim Belushi or Jesse Ventura. All these old white celebrities now own pot farms. They all claim they're like, I've loved pot for 1,500 years. That's why I started my farm. And you're like, shut up. You're getting filthy rich off it. And you had the money to invest. Stop acting like you've been down since day one. How long you spent in jail for pot charges, huh? Let's let the people who spend time in jail and prison for pot charges run this industry. It's such a scam. All right. Please read the article in the link, and maybe if we can find the court that she's going to, we can hit them up, or the police station, the cops that pulled her over. They're public servants. They're supposed to serve the public, be in our interest, and this is not protecting the public. Who is being protected by locking up a girl with 8 ounces of bong water? Who does that protect? It does nothing to help our society. It punishes people, and the ricochet effect, I don't know if she has kids or family or what, but this is just devastating. And shame on you, Minnesota lawmakers. You're a bunch of old fogies and you're out of it. We here in Massachusetts, we've legalized it all. We got shops on almost every corner. People making billions of dollars. That's going back to the school districts, they say. Anyways, legalize cannabis, free everybody who's in jail or prison or state charges or whatever. Free them all. Free them all. And let's get contemporary. I say if the government can have a patent on cannabis for its medicinal use, no one should be in jail for it. No one should be in prison for it. Government recognizes it's a medicine. This is important stuff. So please, if you're in Minnesota, let's speak up. Let's figure out a way to do something. I thank you for joining me. Please hit the subscribe button. And when you do, hit that little notification bell. I would love for you to join me when I go live. And hit that thumbs up button. Nobody's hit it yet. Good afternoon, Kevin Hawthorne. There's my man. There is my man, Kevin. How is Florida treating you? Is it hot as hell down there? Whew. Got that humidity. Florida's about to be touching 90, right? Or maybe 100? I don't know. It's only 74 here, and I'm getting scared when it's going to start hitting the 80s. That's when I start to melt. I feel like an ice cream. An overweight white guy just melting over my shorts. Gross. You don't get that on the Philly DeFranco show. I hope, you know what, and that's the thing. If I get as big, if you hit subscribe and we can build this channel as big as Philly DeFranco, we can talk about these important things. Because if Philly touched upon this, and again, it doesn't matter where you sit on whether you think cannabis is a drug or not. If you've been brainwashed and Stockholm syndrome into thinking cannabis is a drug, you know, we need to undo that. We need to debrief you. Because it doesn't matter where you sit. The science is out. Like, the government knows the science is that cannabis is a medicine. So it's like scientific. Are you denying science? This isn't about what you've been told by your government. This is not about that. And if people like Philly DeFranco picked this stuff up and talked about it in the news, which it is in the news, the link in the description, then maybe we could affect change. But as long as they don't, maybe he will. I don't know. I haven't watched this show in a long time because I only watch it to see what he's doing and what he's tackling and how fast he's talking. He's lost a lot of weight too. You notice that when celebrities, like, not celebrities, but when people start to get famous, all of a sudden they get skinnier. It's like the more money they get, the skinnier they get. And I know they probably get like people who cook for them and they get a, you know, gym membership or workout equipment. They build a gym in their house. But I always find that strange. And like you see, go look at any star who's like relatively thin now, but used to be chubby, and just look. Like there was a point where they like made it, and all of a sudden, like a month later, they are thin as shit. Why do people say thin as shit? Shits aren't that thin. It's a weird turn of phrase. And I've been saying turn of phrase often. I don't even know what that means. I'm guessing it's appropriate. Anyways, Kevin Hawthorne, sorry to go on that tirade. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Hope you were doing well, my friend. Apologies for the bad language, YouTube. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. And hit that thumbs up. I see you. Nobody's hit the thumbs up. That's okay. My feelings aren't hurt. I'll hit it myself once I get off the live. It's been raining through the week. We are still adding up rainfall total. Some people here in Florida could get 6 or 7 inches of rain. Oh my God. I wonder if that rain is coming up to us here up north. That's a lot of rain for Florida. You got to be careful, man. Those alligators, once that rain piles up and it fills up those like alleyways between the highways, those alligators can move inland. So be careful. I want to go back down to Florida so bad. See some alligators sitting there on the side of the highway. My brother and my best friend moved down to Florida, and they'll send me random pictures of like an alligator somewhere. I'll be like, God damn, that is the Wild West of America. Just alligators everywhere. Lizards that fall out of trees when it gets too cold. What a tropical weirdadice. It's not a paradise, it's more like a weirdadice. Anyways, guys, I gotta wrap this up. I got some things to do, but if you hit subscribe and the notification bell and the like button, then tomorrow when I go live, you could join me. And tomorrow I got a bunch of news stories, but I've just kind of put them on the back burner. There's a really fascinating one about a guy who is stealing people's luggage, and someone put their Apple iWatch AirWatch. What is it called? Apple Watch? Apple Watch, whatever. Stupid names. Put their Apple Watch in the luggage and it tracked him to his house and he got busted. That's like, yo, this is the one thing technology is good for. But there's a bunch of different stuff. The government is charging Chiquita Banana with financing, what is it, the Colombia's militia. I'm telling you, there's a bunch of stories that I want to go into. I don't have time today. So hit that subscribe button. We'll talk about Chiquita Banana, the bananas you buy at the grocery store, how they were financing militaries across the world, and they're all criminals. It's a fascinating story. That's a tale for another time. Old Rob will tell you that one another night, sitting by the fire. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Please hit subscribe. We got a race to beat Philly DeFranco. What has he got? A couple million subs? We crack 1,300. We're on the way, folks. We are on the way. Believe. All right. Thank you. Salute.